I'm going to be doing a little tutorial on what happens when the nurse or the doctor checks you at the hospital. Imagine you're going into the hospital and you think you're in labor, or maybe you're being induced, and so the nurse or the doctor says, oh, I need to do an exam, I need to check you. I'm going to check your cervix. Today, I'm just going to be talking about dilation, but when we check you at the hospital, we're looking for three things. We're looking for dilation, effacement, and station. Like, that's what we're feeling for, I should say. So dilation is how open your cervix is. So let's backtrack a little bit and I'll explain to you what your cervix is. So imagine a balloon. So the balloon is your uterus, and then that narrow opening, like where the knot is the cervix. And then the vagina is the canal. So if you're going up from the vagina, you go like this, then you would feel the cervix, or that little balloon opening. And then the uterus is where the baby is, right? We do an exam with our fingers. So we'll go in through the vagina, and we're feeling for a hole, hopefully, an opening. If it's a closed cervix, it might feel like someone's pointing back at you with your finger, and that's your cervix, long, closed, thick. But if it's open, this is my little diagram, we will probably feel a little hole. So if you're 1 centimeter, we could put like 1 finger in. If you're 2 centimeters, we can do kind of 2 fingers stacked on top like that. If you're 3, for me, I have smaller fingers, so I can do 2 fingers right next to each other with like a teeny bit of space. 4 centimeters, a little more open. 5 centimeters, looks like a peace sign, right? And then I skipped 6 centimeters because I wanted to do a little explanation of something. So this is 7 to 8 centimeters for my fingers, but I also measured this with a ruler. So 7 to 8 centimeters. If we say 7 to 8 or 5 to 6, it means like the half, like right in the middle. So 5.5 or 7.5. And that's how we kind of approximate how dilated you are, because everybody's fingers are different sizes, right? Say, for example, someone, like, I'll check you and say, oh, you're 7 to 8. Then I change shifts, right? I go home, and then the next nurse checks you and they say, oh, you're about 7. Good job. And you might feel discouraged, but don't be discouraged, because maybe that nurse's fingers are a little bit bigger, or maybe the way that she has mentally taught herself to measure feels like 7, and for me, it's 7 to 8. So if it's a 0.5 centimeter off, that's not too big of a deal. Just wanna remind you guys, don't get discouraged if there's a little variation, because everybody's fingers are different sizes. So then for 10 centimeters, there's this bigger hole. So for me, I have to turn my fingers backwards to open them wide enough to feel 10 centimeters. This is approximately the size of your baby's head as your baby is coming through the cervix and the birth canal. So sometimes we can't feel the cervix anymore. We're just feeling the baby's head. And a lot of times when we're at 10 centimeters, we're feeling this way, but we're also feeling around the baby's head to make sure we're not feeling any cervix. Because if there's any cervix, you're not completely dilated. So maybe you've heard someone say, oh, there's a lip, or there's an anterior lip. That means there's a little bit of cervix either on the top or the side that's still there. Or maybe you're 9.5 centimeters. So there's a couple different ways that we would say that, but 10 centimeters is completely dilated. So you might hear your nurse say, oh, you're complete. So that's a good thing. But there's 2 more things that we assess for when we do the exam. So stay tuned for what the next 2 things are.